The painting you are looking at is considered one of the most faithful representations of Lucifer ever created, and one of the most controversial works in the history of art. Look at his body, the musculature, the proportions, the wings. Everything evokes the image we carry in our minds of a divine figure. But what draws the eye is not his body, it is his gaze. There is in it a mixture of fury and grief, so precise it seems lifted directly from sacred scripture. His pride is so absolute that he refuses to release the single tear forming at the corner of his eye. The thorns surrounding his body are not decoration. They symbolize the growth of sin taking hold inside him, spreading slowly like a wound that has no intention of healing. This work is called The Fallen Angel, and it was painted in 1847 by Alexandre Cabanel. He was 24 years old. To understand why this painting is so faithful, you first need to understand who painted it. Cabanel was the son of a carpenter from Montpellier in the south of France. No money, but an ambition that had no limit. By the age of 10, he was already enrolled in his local art school. At 17, he entered the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, the most prestigious art institution in France and one of the oldest in the world. He arrived with nothing but talent and the kind of determination that does not accept failure as a final answer. He failed twice in a row at the Prix de Rome, the most important competition the Academy held. In those failed attempts, he was already working on this exact composition, the same pose, the same figure, the same angels visible in the background. But in those earlier versions, Lucifer looked defeated, humbled, almost repentant. It was not until 1847 that Cabanel found what he was looking for. In this final version, Lucifer is not defeated. He is entirely consumed by pride. There is no room left for regret, and no trace of the angel he once was. When the painting arrived in Paris, the judges rejected it. The official report stated that the style was too romantic and the execution deficient. But the real reason was something else entirely. Cabanel had painted the devil too human and too beautiful. By giving him genuine emotions, he was forcing the viewer to feel sympathy for the supreme villain. That made people deeply uncomfortable. The church had spent centuries building a very specific image of evil, and Cabanel had just dismantled it with a single canvas. Cabanel had not drawn from that image. He did not paint a monster with horns. He drew from two sources, the Bible and the poem by John Milton, Paradise Lost, where Satan had once been a beautiful and perfect being in every sense, utterly consumed by the worst of all sins, pride. But to truly understand what Cabanel painted, you need to know the full story. Before a single star existed to shine, there was already a heaven. And in that heaven, God created his first rational being, the most glorious of all angels, the one of greatest honor. He formed him with all his wisdom, made him perfect in every way, and gave him a name, Lucifer, the bearer of light. Lucifer lived beside the throne of the Eternal as his representative before the universe. He was the first to receive each new revelation and the first to carry it to the angelic hosts. No other angel could reveal the mysteries of the Eternal's love the way he could. The creatures of every world received him with celebration and wonder, drawn to something in him that was impossible to fully describe. But God also showed him something else. On that first great journey through the universe, he led his angels to the edge of an abyss of darkness that stood in sharp contrast to the brilliance of the galaxies surrounding it. And he said to them, "All the treasures of light will be open to your knowledge, except the secrets hidden within the darkness. You are free to serve me or not." With those words, God made the separation between light and darkness. The universe was free to choose its own destiny. For a long time, Lucifer lived within that freedom without ever feeling the pull to turn away from his creator. Until one day, almost without realizing it, he began to feel drawn toward that abyss, not with fear, with curiosity. And curiosity, left unanswered, has a way of becoming something far more dangerous. He knelt before God and pleaded, "Father, let me know the mysteries of the darkness, just as you revealed to me the mysteries of the light." The Eternal answered him with sorrow, "My son, you were created for the light, which is life." Convinced that his creator would never reveal what he was searching for, Lucifer made the most consequential decision in the history of the universe. He would understand the enigma on his own. It was then that he conceived his theory. He called it the science of good and evil, a new system in which light and darkness, love and selfishness, would coexist in perfect equilibrium. He presented it before a third of the angelic hosts with an eloquence he had never before directed toward anything but good, and he convinced them, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. There is no sentence that better captures what was burning inside him. Lucifer approached the Eternal with arrogance and asked for the throne of Zion for a determined period of time, to demonstrate the superiority of his new system. The Creator refused, not out of ambition, but because he knew that path led only to death. Lucifer and his hosts then began to accuse God of tyranny. The accusations spread across the entire universe, reaching every corner of creation, turning what had once been harmony into something that had never existed before, doubt. And then something happened that no one had expected. The Eternal rose from his throne. He removed his crown and his royal mantle and placed them on the empty seat. In his face, there was no resentment, only grief and infinite love. Lucifer and his followers could still have turned back, but seeing the throne empty, overcome by their own hunger for power, they broke with their Creator for the last time. The Eternal then raised his voice in lamentation. "My children, I can no longer call you that. I lived for you, covering you in glory and power. Today my soul bleeds with pain, my heart is broken, and the scars I will carry forever." And turning to Lucifer for the last time, "You were given a name of honor when you were created. You will no longer be called Lucifer, you will be called Satan, the enemy of the Creator and of his laws." Now look at the painting again. Cabanel did not paint a monster, he painted that precise moment, the instant when Lucifer has just lost everything and has not yet decided what to do with that pain, the fury, the grief, the pride that will not let him release that single tear. That is what made the judges in Paris uncomfortable. Not that it was too romantic, not that the execution was deficient, but that it was too true. That, for the first time, someone had painted evil in a way that made you feel something for it. And that, perhaps, was the most unsettling thing of all.